Hey NorCal, what's up? It is the NorCal Karters chick. Put it in the comments if you can hear me because I want to make sure I set this up right. Put it in the comments if you can hear me. I see people are on, but welcome back. It is Monday, March 31st, and we are talking about April already in 2025. So, yeah, let's get into it. We have Josh here with me today. So, we can put any comments or any questions in the chat because we're going to be doing a little bit of discussion at the end about current events and topics and things that are being brought up on our side of the fence in karting. So, yeah, let's get into it. If you're here, we do see people are on. So if you're here, put in the comments, say what's up. We're already talking about April. I remember when we were planning everything and this felt so far away because there was a lot of stuff happening in April. So a lot of clubs had to figure out what we were going to do with the holiday and everything like that. So, yeah, April. Okay. We are going to kick off April this weekend at ROK Sonoma. So ROK Sonoma this weekend, they're going to have their Triple Crown 1, round 1. So again, ROK Sonoma's setting up two different Triple Crowns this year. There's going to be the first one and the second one. So the first three will be in the first part of the year, and the last three will be after the summer into the fall. So Triple Crown 1, race 1. Registration is open, so go to ROK Sonoma, their Facebook page, their social media. The link is posted there. I've shared the link on NorCal Karters as well. We want to see everybody out there. I know Jason's going to be out there as well, and he would absolutely love it if everybody went up to him and said, "Hey, NorCal." So let's do that. There's also the ROK Sonoma Discord channel that you can be a part of to get the official sort of announcements and everything from the series. So that is also available on their social media. But Sonoma is sort of like a home away from home for us. So the weather is nice. We have been seeing the videos. It is green and beautiful out there. So enjoy the best view in the track with the best view in NorCal this weekend because it is looking awesome out there. I know our normal club, or they're sort of club, but there are our NorCal teams, our big NorCal teams will be out there, like Ron White, GFC, Speed Sense, all the things. So if you're looking for somewhere to go this weekend, definitely recommend ROK Sonoma. I know Josh had a little bit of notes from these, or from Sonoma. So Josh, you want to add anything about Sonoma?
Just wanted to wish all of our locals good luck, or anybody, getting ready for the upcoming races. COA is coming to town in a couple weeks. So if you are trying to get a little bit of local track time, just a local quick tip that I did tell Ashley about in the pre notes is you definitely, as green as it is here in Sonoma this year and as beautiful as it is, everybody wants to get out there. You do not want to go off the racetrack. So all the drivers, watch your limits, because I'm sure the sheep have shut down the racetrack or trim down the racetrack, and your go-kart will be full of all sorts of extra tidbits when you come in. So if you know, you know, but you definitely don't want to go off track this time of the year at Sonoma, as beautiful as it is and as green as it is. Just that's about it. I mean, for Sonoma, wanted to wish all of our friends luck. I know it is the National Pro Configuration this weekend. That means we don't have the tic-tac-toe. Be the normal national big straightaway, and then coming down, I believe they'll bypass the tic-tac-toe and make the double right, coming back up into Laguna Corner through the Mamo S's, into Kramer, down into Monza, up into Monaco or Manmaker, excuse me, and onto the straightaway. So, you know, home sweet home, Sonoma, we call it. I grew up there, love it. Can't make it this weekend. Got some prior obligations. One of my good buddies is getting hitched, so got to be there for him. But I will make it out this year and see all my friends and all the NorCal Karters out there with Jason. Like Ashley said, everybody give Jason a hard time. Say hi to him. He'll be the one there flying the colors for us this weekend.
Yeah. All right. Any questions about Sonoma? Put them in the chat. We can answer. We have plenty of experience there. So again, we are open. Oh, look.
Oh. Thanks, Andy.
Our friend Andy is on here too. Any questions about Challenge of the Americas? We will have the expert in the house. So going into that's the first weekend of April. Going into the next weekend in April, there is a race in Dixon. I know that. So go ahead and check out their Facebook page for all of that info. I know they've been posting a lot of stuff and putting a lot of info about that out. So Dixon Facebook page.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it's 2 weeks in a row at Dixon. It'll be this week. So.
And then we get into the Easter weekend. I believe Prairie City is having something. Check their Facebook page as well. Then we are going back. I mean me. I'm getting back. Well, Josh will be there too, but getting back in the ring at Challenge of the Americas for round 5 and 6 at Sonoma. This is when Andy brings the show to our house. So I expect everyone to be there. I expect NorCal to be heavily represented. Registration is open for that. ChallengeKarting.com. I expect a big crowd for that as well. I don't know if the Shinko, our friend Nick from Shinko, will be there, but we are definitely building a great relationship with them. Nick was at K1, or Nick was at the K1 track, so he was getting a lot of data, taking pictures and things like that for Shinko. So we're definitely building our relationship with them. And Challenge of the Americas, the whole show's coming to our house. So sign up, register. Last year, Sonoma had the highest, the highest senior class? Andy, give me a fact check here.
Yeah, 44 seniors was the highest in challenge history last year. I think if I'm not mistaken, it was the biggest class that we had to date in challenge history. Andy can correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember talking about it on the radio. Because I'll be on the ladder in the S's, as most of you know. I'm an official at Challenge of the Americas, so I mean I'm heavily involved. I'm taking the bullets like the rest of us most of the time, but we're also there to put on the best show we can for you guys. I mean, like Ashley said, it's our home turf. We want you guys to represent because we know how good you are. like Ashley said, we're calling out a lot of locals. I'm specifically going to call out a lot of our Masters guys, especially our 100cc guys, because I'm looking for you guys to show out. As you know, there's not a lot of series that still even offer competitive 100cc racing across the country on the national level, as you can see. So we are, and we do. So I feel like we put on one of the best shows in the country, and this is the best track in the country. It's top 3. Let's build it up. I mean, let's show people. Let's show people what Masters racing is all about. I mean, let's bring them out. Let's run the shifters. That you guys too. I mean, like I said, all you guys that I know, there's 40 shifters at Sonoma if everybody races. So I'd like to see a lot of shifters come out. It's a big track. It's a big straightaway. It races well for shifters. There's a lot of them. So let's draw those guys out. Let's show people what a premier circuit on the West Coast is. And I think Sonoma is that. So looking forward to seeing you guys all at the end of the month. And that's all I got to say on that.
All right. Again, Challenge of the Americas, you can register now at challengekarting.com. And their Facebook page is still kind of not working. So all of the updates and announcements are going to be on the Shinko Karting Tires USA Facebook page. Still good on Instagram, so you can still follow Challenge Karting on Instagram, but Facebook, they've transferred over to Shinko Tires Facebook page. So if you've been like waiting for updates or, looking or trying to tag them, it's switched over to Shinko Karting Tires USA. Go register so that way I don't have to call you out. I already know you signed up. All right, so that's gonna finish off April. I do want to go into the first weekend of May because CCKRA is going to be hosting again the Fast Tech Fast Lap Fiesta. We're partnering with Fast Tech again this year. What we do is we offer a Fast Tech prize for a random lap that is decided before the race. So you don't know what lap, you don't know, it could be anybody, anything like that. So Fast Tech, again, thank you for partnering with us on that. We will be at Button Willow for that. So it'll be the 3rd and 4th of April. And that also is the ROK Sonoma Triple Crown 1 Round 2. So the only excuse I will accept for you not coming to the Fast Tech Fast Lap Fiesta is that you're at ROK Sonoma. So either or, ROK Sonoma, CCKRA, the first weekend in May. Those are our two. I do want to mention our friends at NCK Road Racing because they are getting ready for their July race. Lots of info is going to be put out about that. I believe registration is open for that. You can go on to NCK Facebook page. They've been posting a ton of stuff on there, so I super appreciate that, NCK. I believe also another note for NCK, if you are interested in running the Road Race Grand Nationals, the IKF Road Race Grand Nationals in September, we already are reserving spots. So there is a deposit that you have to put down for that event just because we're trying to make sure we meet all of the thanks, Mike. That is CCKRA. But so for IKF, we have the deposits are happening for that race as well. So if you're planning on going to the IKF Road Race Grand Nationals, Las Vegas Motor Speedway in September, please go and secure your spot now because we want to make sure that the class about the class sizes and that we have participation in all the classes. That is available on NCK Road Racing Facebook page, and I believe April 30th is the deadline for that. So April 30th, you have until April 30th to go and get your Grand Nationals deposit in for NCK.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I know if you put in $100 deposit right now before April 30th, they're crediting you back $50, I believe, at the end of towards your final registration fee, just to lock it in. So basically, it's $50 now, and you get $50 back later.
Yes.
So go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
You're good. I forgot that part. So yes, NCK Road Racing. You can find it on their Facebook page. And I do want to mention KPX. I know those guys have been working on getting stuff started. NorCal Karters is going to be partnering with KPX on some prizes and things as well. So that is going to be something that's coming up during the summer. And last I heard, we were still doing the trip to Spain. So KPX is going to be awarding a race entry to the Nations Cup in Spain in October for the champion of the Tillotson class. So if you're trying to get your passport stamped, stay tuned, because KPX is definitely going to be giving out a trip.
So get those Tillotsons
as far as
ready.
I know.
Get those Tillotsons ready.
Yes, as far as I know. KPX and CCK are both Hoosier tire clubs and series. So Hoosier Tires taking over NorCal 2025. They're available with your local Hoosier dealer. And yeah, put it in the comments. We want questions. We are going to bring up a discussion topic, and it's something that's sort of affecting not just NorCal, but karting in general. So we're gonna get on with that. But Josh, do you want to start us off with your discussion question?
Ooh, here we go. All right. So obviously everybody has been watching. Everybody watches racing. And I just want to know, what do you want as a racer? And what is the lost art of racecraft? Because I really don't know anymore. And I'm being honest, everybody knows I'm a racer at her first. I do a little bit of officiating on, my off weekends and when I can. And I'm just going to rant a little bit, but I want the next generation to be better. And I don't know how else to use our platform for the good besides to just come on here and rant that I don't understand how people can just push it off that, oh, they're professionals. That's how they race now. That's not how I grew up. I sure as shit remember Tom Halbash giving me penalties when I was a kid because I was bad. When I was 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, I was bad. Okay. And there's plenty of other kids that were just as bad as me and they got penalties. And then all of a sudden it just transitioned to, oh, that's how we race now. It's the bumpers, or everybody has an excuse. And it's no, why can't we just give them penalties? And then when we do give them penalties, everybody wants to complain they don't know why they got it. Well, that's how we have to race. Well, I'm sorry, dude. That's not how I'm trying to get that's not what I'm trying to like implement. Like, I understand, like, I get stuff wrong. Like, I'm not saying I'm right every time, and I'm not saying the official's right every time, but at, I don't know. At what point is enough enough? Like, there's no way you can just go on and say like it's just okay. That's just how we race now. Because if that's how we race now, then why do we even have officials? Why is there people even trying to put on these races? We're just gonna start you up and let you go. Like, if you crash, you crash. You're on your own, buddy. Like, no, I'm trying. Like, perfect example. Like, a lot of these kids, okay, 9, 10. I know plenty of 7 and 8-year-olds that look up to Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell because these are some of the best all-around drivers in the world. Now, I'm going to specifically call out NASCAR a little bit because I'm a NASCAR fan, whatever. But these kids look up to Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson, and then you got this next generation of pros that we have because our guys go up through the karting rank to these pro levels, and then they move on. And now you have like the Xfinity race this weekend. It was an absolute joke. And every NASCAR driver will tell you the same thing. It's an absolute joke what these kids just know how to do. And in my opinion, they're brought up from when they're 7 or 8 years old now because of the generation. Like, why can't we start change it? Why can't we start implementing changes? And what's it going to take? Like, is penalties the answer? I don't know. Maybe suspensions? Like, I mean, maybe, but is a series have enough guts to do that? I don't know. That's not for me to say, right? Like, but there has to be something. There's no way that you can just tolerate this type of racing and just say, oh, that's just how we race now. Like, something has to be done. And I know that there was a lot of talk about, a points implication system, but how do you do that for juniors? Right? That's one of my questions. Like, how do you, when you're dealing with the kid, it becomes a sticky situation when you're tallying stuff and the parents not involved, and there's just so many areas of it. I don't know. Like, so I want to open it up for discussion amongst my peers because I want to hear other people's opinion on what they think. Like, and it's not just me. This is just my rant. Like, and I see things different than other people. Like, again, I understand blocking. I understand everything. Like, he went defensive, but the dude's head went wham. And then he went offline, yes, and he didn't get moved off the racetrack. But you're talking about one of the best go-kart and arguably one of the most accomplished go-kart racers in North America was able to keep it on the racetrack. Like, yeah, of course. Of course he was. Like, I'm not going to bat for the guy, but when I seen it, I was like, yeah, that's a penalty. And then I turned it off and then nothing happened. And I was like, whoa. Like, and then I read people's arguments and they're like, oh, that's just racing. And I'm like, what? Like, what?
So,
why am I even out there busting, like, sweating my ass off as an official? Like, I don't even like doing this. Like, if we're being real.
Hold on. So Mike brought up a good point. Could it be because kids are brought up so fast and so much pressure is on them?
No, because I feel like 9 times out of 10, the kids put on better shows nowadays because they're afraid of getting it. Once you give them the penalty, they put on the best racings.
Yes. Well, and also too, going back to like Challenge of the Americas, and Andy's got a point here too. We actually had less penalties in like the cadet class and like the younger classes than we did in the older classes. And we were having to ask them, like, do you understand what we're looking at? Do you understand like what we're looking for? So Andy is bringing up a good point, is all series call things differently. We have a reputation for calling things fairly tight, but we are consistent. Drivers are treated the same way and officiated fairly. There's no reason why we don't have, there's a reason why we don't have 20 kart wrecks and multiple red flags at our races.
But let me pause here for a second with this, and I get where he's coming from, but I don't want to point this strictly on officiating. I want to ask the racers, how do you want to get raced? Because if I'm leading, I'll be honest, if I go to the inside, I don't want to just get rooted out of the way. Like, that's not how I want to be raced. If I go to the inside and I kill my momentum and you cross me over and you beat me to the inside and you roll up and you give me a little bit of side pod and you shove me off the racetrack and you beat me to the line, all right. Like, I put myself in that situation. Okay, like, that's how I'm going to see it, right, as a racer. But if you just come in there and you root me out of the way, like, that's not how I want to be raced. Mm-hmm. And all these people that, like, and again, this for me, this doesn't lie on officiating. I think the officials in every series across the board are doing what they're are doing the best job they can. Okay, like, and I can speak a little bit on that because I'm an official myself, right? And this happens at the club level, at the regional level, at the national level. It's the same deal. Okay, like, racing's racing. And the officials are going to get some right. They're going to get some wrong. They're going to do the best they can. But for me, like, as a racer, how do you want to be raced? Right? Because then you read the comments and you're like, oh, that's just okay.
Then we also have Mike Dean's referring to the Mario Kart effect that we have been experiencing as well. Kids have simulators and online racing where it's easy to hit a reset button, and most kids aren't associating it with, like, the real world and costs and things like that. I agree with that, because there are some times where I'm, like, watching and I'm just like, whoa, dude, like, what were you thinking when you were doing that? Like, what were you, like, sometimes I want them to, like, explain to me and give me, like, the rundown of how they did it. But at the same time, again, we're dealing with kids who, do race these things, and they're like, okay, let me reset and then I can redo it, So yeah, Mario Kart, thanks for that. Then we also have a parent. Hey, Aaron. So, parent watching from the sideline, I'm perfectly fine with my kid getting a penalty for something he does obviously wrong. I think it teaches better racecraft and hard lessons learned. I agree.
Okay, yeah, but okay? That's valid. I mean, I think it's great. But I don't know. I'm trying to think of how.
I think too, everybody has an opinion on what obviously wrong is too. So you have these, you have parents that are like, oh, my kid just ran out of room and they had nowhere else to go type thing. But then it's like, okay, so how do we turn this into a teachable moment versus my kid's getting a penalty? So, like, I'm upset.
Andy's last comment right here. It would be fun to hear the racers' opinions, but I can tell you one thing: I get compliments since ever, blah blah blah. But he's exactly right. You're their best friend because you're calling penalties and you're actually enforcing it until it's them, right? And then all of a sudden you're the worst guy and the worst person, the worst human being to walk the planet. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it sucks. And in reality, all we're trying to do is just put on the best show and the best environment we can for everybody across the board, right? And I'm not trying to single out one person or another, but that's just racing. I mean, if you're in the front and you're always battling for the lead, sometimes it's going to be the same 10 go-karts. Like,
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is.
And then Mike's going in with people don't like change, and consistency is a big part of it. Yes, I agree too. Sort of relating this to CCKRA, like when I came in, it was like, oh, she's worked with Challenge of the Americas, this and that. So I think everybody sort of expected that Challenge of the Americas mentality. And I do have it a lot of times. My team has to like wrangle me in and remind me that we are a club. But again, as an official on this side of the fence, my goal is to create good racing, to make sure everyone's safe. And we also want these kids to learn, because I want these kids to eventually go up to Challenge of the Americas, CKNA, all these pro tours and SCUSA and all that stuff, and not be a little bit shocked at the point that they can't just bulldoze their way through or make their way through. So it is something we're trying to integrate into teaching our club members. But at the same time, like everyone's, like Andy's point, like suddenly once we start making calls and once things like, penalties happen, then it's on us. And we're taking the heat for calling it on the person, or because our opinion is different. Now, there is appeals processes and there's protesting and things like that. So yes, that is an option. But again, the point of the conversation that we're trying to have is like, what's the racer's opinion on this?
Like
I see people are here, so put it in the comments. There's more than just Andy and Mike here. So
yeah, like I want to open it up to people. Like I want to hold our generation to the higher standard, because again, I think that our generation can be pros. These are the guys that I want to see in IndyCar, in NASCAR, in F1, right? Like, and we did that already. Like when I was a kid, Joey Hand, AJ Allmendinger, Scott Speed, Alex Speed, Mike Doty, like all these guys, Cole Nelson, Jeff Nelson, Ryan Finney, all of them have gone to be professional race car drivers, right? All of them were held responsible as kids for their actions with their go-karts, right? Like these guys didn't grow up to go make a fool out of themselves. They're not like, and again, I'm going to use a couple NASCAR drivers. They're not Sammy Smiths or Sam Mayer's an exception. He was a damn good go-kart racer. Like I'll give him that. But like, again, he may have but he grew up in that era where it was okay to just root guys out of the way. The poor kid lost super nats twice because he just got rooted out of the way. Right? No wonder he grows up and just shoves people out of the way in NASCAR nowadays. Like, what do you expect? He's been racing that way since he was 9 years old, right? Like, and nobody ever held him accountable for it, right? If they got a penalty when he was 9, he would have been like, oh, that's not okay. Maybe I can't do that. Maybe it would have been a core memory, right? Like, I just don't want these kids to grow up and be embarrassments when they're real race car drivers, because the guys that did it in my generation are pros, right? Joey Hand is a freaking pro. He doesn't touch a shoal on racetrack. He will racecraft you, right? And I think that, and I'm going to use Chase as an example because he's another NorCal guy, a native. He's another perfect example. Like he's gotten into his mischiefs and mishaps like everybody does, right? That's just part of learning and executing your craft, right? I'm not saying he's perfect, but for the most part, the dude is a phenomenally clean race car driver and racer in general. Like I'll go hand to hand with them all day, no problem. And it's, I don't know. Some of it, sometimes I look at some of the comments and I look at some of their actions and I'm like, do you just want us to be like, all right, boys, go ahead, it's a gladiator match. We're going to let you go with the grid and say la vie. Here's the green flag. Like that, people wouldn't want that either. So,
all right, put it in the comments. We're talking about penalties and racers' opinions on penalties. We know people are here. I see people are here. So put it in the comments. If you don't want to talk about penalties, say, hey, NorCal, anything like that. So let's do it. All right, Andy's got one. So Andy, perspective, long time in the sport, get too focused on the trophy instead of the journey. The journey is filled with lessons, both good and bad. In the end, kids remember part of the journey and the least related to earning the trophies. They remember the motorhome breakdown, the fun dinner with their buddies at Waffle House. I agree. Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
One of my core memories from the go-kart track were not at the go-kart track, were pizza parlors and places, indoor go-kart places that we went to after, for sure.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So
thanks, Andy, for joining us. Again, register for Challenge Sonoma, challengekarting.com. But yeah, so put it in the comments. I know people are here. We're talking about penalties. We're talking about, it's open mic. So we will take questions. Josh is here. Anything like that. And do you have any more on your notes?
Not really. I mean, we pretty much covered it all. It was just like, I mean, like I said, I wanted to say earlier, I don't really think that penalties is the answer, right? Like, I think that officials do a really good job. And again, this isn't a stab at anybody or saying that people aren't. I'm calling out the go-karter, right? Like, I'm calling out the racer, right? Like, no series in particular, because this happens across the board, from the club level to the regional level to the national level to the international level, right? Like, you've seen the world finals last year where you had side-to-side contact and guys going to the line. Like, granted, like, it happens all the time. So I think the officials do the best job they can, and everyone's human. But so I don't think penalties are really the answer. But what is? I mean, that's really my question.
Where do we start?
Yeah, where's the start? I mean, I think it calling guys out. I mean, that's not cool. Like I don't think, Kart Chaser, Karting News, is like any social platform needs to be calling guys out. Like, I don't think that's the answer, right? These guys do a great job of promoting the sport in their own spotlight, in their own way, right? I mean, each social brand does it. We try to do it in our way, and I want to really promote trying to grow the go-kart, like the racer, the racecraft. Like, I want to bring back racecraft, right? Like the lost art of racecraft, because like that's gone. Like I think it's gone. Like, and people get mad at us like when we actually call penalties, and then it's like, dude, maybe I call it a little tighter than everyone else, but I'm holding you to a higher standard because I know you're better. And I know you can be better. So, like, I'm going to expect the best out of everybody, and especially my drivers from NorCal. Like, and I'm not going to, like, again, I'm not calling anybody out individually, but yeah, right? When somebody's like, oh, why'd you do that to me? One, because I probably seen it because I'm watching you, right? And two, because, yeah, I know you know better. I've raced with you. Chances are, like, I've raced with you. So I know you know better. So again, like, I know all my friends probably feel the same way, right? Like, we talk about it a lot between me and my homies. at the go-kart track bantering over some beers or whatever. I have a couple kart geeks that I text all the time that probably feel the same way.
Phil Hand has entered the chat, everyone.
Somebody said that earlier, right? Somebody said that in the chat earlier. They were like, oh, I thought about doing it and then I didn't. And I'm like, yeah, you thought about making the official make a call. And then you were like, yeah, I'm going to make them. I'm going to take it out of my hands and I'm going to put it in the official's hands. Oh, it was David Serra. He commented on, he said something. He's like, if I'm the racer, I'm pissed. He goes, if I'm the official or something like that, I'm mad. I don't know what he said. And I was like, you took it out of your hands and you put it in the official's hands.
Mm-hmm. Shout out Phil Hand, stepping in with us at K1. Michael Dean just laying it out. It starts at home with a belt. Hey. Respect is earned, not given. You got a point there. But again, we want to hear from you. What's going to take? What's the starting position? We see people are here. What's up, Phil? Good to hear from you. And yeah, so as we start, what?
No, go ahead. I was just watching.
So we are sort of still in the start of the racing season. So we haven't really had a whole year to reflect upon this topic, but just what we've seen so far is where we want to start the conversation. What's it going to take? Put it in the comments. If you have any questions about any of the series, anything coming up, we can answer it as well. But again, this is open floor and we want to hear from you. This month, just a quick recap. This month we have ROK Sonoma, or this weekend, we have ROK Sonoma Triple Crown 1, Round 1. So if you have not registered, go to ROK Sonoma, register for that. And then we are going to finish out the month at Challenge of the Americas, also at Sonoma. So we will be definitely seeing people in Sonoma. You can register for that at challengekarting.com. Any other questions, put them in the comments. CCKRA is going to be at Buttonwillow the first weekend in May for the Fast Tech Fast Lap Fiesta. And that's also going to be the Triple Crown 1 Round 2. So lots of stuff happening in April. We have some other races going on at home tracks and stuff in NorCal. You will have to go to their Facebook pages to get the announcements on those. But other than that, we will see you guys at Sonoma at some point, probably this month. So, go ahead, put any more questions, comments, or opinions about this in the comments. But Josh and I are all out of notes.
Yeah. I'll be racing in 2 weeks, hopefully. That's kind of the plan. First time back behind the wheel in some time since CKNA, really. So I worked and scrambled down in Adams, but that wasn't racing. Like, I want to go and be able to work on my stuff and tune my stuff. So hopefully I'll be able to get out and drive a little bit in a couple weeks. I'm looking forward to that. I haven't been in the go-kart in a couple weeks, so back at the home turf and track that I've known and raced at since I was a kid. So, again.
Yes.
Another
thing too, we are hoping to do a live, hopefully some sort of live show from Challenge at Sonoma. So stay tuned for that next month. Challenge at Sonoma, we're hoping to be live so we can talk to our NorCal teams, We can show you the track with the most beautiful view in NorCal, and lots of announcements coming that weekend. So
Maybe we'll
join
do it
us
on a Friday.
Huh?
Maybe we can do it on like a Thursday or a Friday, and we can get some more racers' opinions on our topic.
Yes.
Trying to get some more.
Again, we're calling you out, NorCal. Last year, we had the highest senior class at the Challenge of the Americas. So 44 seniors, Challenge of the Americas. So this year, we hope to continue to bring the party, and we'll definitely be there again this weekend. Jason will be at ROK Sonoma. So if you see him, make sure to say, hey, NorCal. He loves that. So yes, if there's no other questions, you can still put them on the replay. So you can put them on the replay, and we will try and go back and look at them and read them and answer them. But I am going to close out by saying if we all bring one person into our sport, we will double by next year. Next month, I am hoping to have some guests on NorCal Mondays. Some people that we know from national or out-of-state series. So, yeah, we're kind of focusing on branching out a little bit, but we are still going to focus on our NorCal tracks and clubs as well. So we'll see you again next month, and second show live from Sonoma. Hopefully the internet gods will be on our side. Other than that, we will see you around. Peace, NorCal.
Later, guys.